What if I told you that after the most brutal, soul-crushing championship loss of his career, Denny Hamlin didn't just walk away empty-handed. He walked straight into a silence so heavy it felt like the walls of Joe Gibbs Racing had closed in on him. No cheers, no pat on the back, no words of encouragement. Instead, the driver who has been the face of the number 11 car for nearly 2 decades was met with quiet looks, clipped sentences, and a sense of distance that cut deeper than the loss itself. A silence that could redefine the final chapter of his NASCAR legacy. Phoenix Raceway was supposed to be different. It was supposed to be the place where Hamlin finally got his storybook ending. And it wasn't just hope talking, he showed up with a car that looked untouchable. He nailed qualifying, grabbed the pole, and controlled the pace from the drop of the green flag. Every lap he ran seemed like he was orchestrating the race from a higher plane. Every corner, every restart, every pit stop was precise. Every move screamed champion. For once, it looked like the universe was finally bending in his favor. For over 300 laps, Hamlin dominated. He managed his tires perfectly. He kept clean air. He dictated strategy. He didn't overdrive. He didn't panic. He didn't make mistakes. The field looked small. The competition looked slow. And for the first time in a long, grueling career, it felt like Hamlin might finally break through. Then, NASCAR reminded everyone why it's the most unpredictable sport in the world. With just 4 laps to go, William Byron hits the wall. The caution comes out, and suddenly, everything Hamlin built over 300 laps evaporates in an instant. Strategy becomes a gamble. 2 tires or 4, a safe call or a risky one. Hamlin's crew chooses 4. Kyle Larson's team chooses 2. 2 seconds on pit road, the smallest margin possible, changes everything. Larson leaps Hamlin in the pits and gets clean air, while Hamlin restarts trapped behind a wall of cars, running for pride instead of points. On the restart, Larson rockets away. Hamlin fights for position, but he can't escape traffic. The championship is gone before the checkered flag falls. Ryan Blaney takes the race win. Kyle Larson takes the championship. And Hamlin. He steps out of the car with the look of a man whose world just tilted on its axis. Not anger, not blame, just shock. And heartbreak so deep it almost looks like physical pain. Then comes the moment everyone noticed. Joe Gibbs approaches. Usually Gibbs is the first to console his drivers, the first to offer comfort after a tough loss. Not this time. Just a small, quiet nod. No words, no reassurance. Just a gesture that feels more like closure than encouragement. And sometimes, silence can be louder than any speech. But the real blow came later. Because in the days following Phoenix, Joe Gibbs Racing didn't say a word about Hamlin's future. No statement, no press release, no public commitment that the number 11 ride was still his. No plan laid out for the path forward. Nothing. And for a driver who's poured nearly 20 years of sweat, loyalty, and identity into one organization, that silence wasn't just painful, it was deafening. Think about it. Hamlin has been the heartbeat of JGR. He's been there through lineup changes, crew chief swaps, manufacturer battles, rule changes, and the pressure of carrying a team's reputation for decades. He's delivered wins, built a brand, mentored younger drivers, and defined what it means to be a loyal competitor. And after the most devastating loss of his career, the team gave him nothing but silence. No clarity, no commitment, only questions. Then came the team banquet. Gibbs gets on stage and gives a long, heartfelt tribute to Hamlin. He talks about his work ethic, his leadership, his dedication, his standards. The room claps. The words sound warm. But the tone? It feels retrospective, like a career highlight reel more than a pep talk for the next season. Respect, yes. Loyalty, sure. But contracts aren't built on respect, and applause doesn't win championships. And here's the reality most fans don't realize. Hamlin has just 1 year left on his contract. 1. He's 44. He's not just racing full-time. He's co-owning 23XI Racing with Michael Jordan, a team that's building momentum, influence, and ambition at every level. He's mentoring drivers, managing business operations, fighting legal battles about the charter system, and shaping a team that's becoming more than just a racing outfit. It's a movement. He's not only driving, he's carrying an entire franchise on his shoulders. The Phoenix loss didn't just break his heart, it cracked open everything he's been holding together: his focus, his legacy, his sense of purpose. Because despite the wins, the consistency, the elite performance, there's one number he hasn't claimed: 0 championships. That number has defined his career more than any win tally, more than any pole or milestone. And now, whispers are growing louder in the garage. JGR might already be thinking about the future without him, evaluating younger talent, considering life after the driver who has been their anchor for 2 decades. If that's true, Phoenix wasn't just a loss. It was a warning shot, a pivot, a turning point signaling that maybe, just maybe, the Hamlin era is nearing its conclusion. And yet, Hamlin has done everything right. He trains harder than most men half his age. He studies film obsessively. He drives with precision, experience, and intelligence. He leads by example. He's consistent. He's elite. But NASCAR doesn't care about preparation. It only cares about who crosses the finish line first when it counts. One caution, one pit stop, one split-second decision, enough to erase a season of perfection. Now, Hamlin faces a crossroads. Does he fight for one more contract extension at Joe Gibbs Racing, knowing that the writing may already be on the wall? Does he walk away from the number 11 and pour everything into 23XI Racing, building the team into a championship contender on his own terms? Or does he bet on himself one last time, take another swing at the elusive championship, and hope the universe finally bends in his favor? He's not done. Not mentally, not physically, not competitively. He still has the fire, the talent, and the speed to contend at the front of the field. But time is relentless, and NASCAR waits for no one. Every year, age and whispers in the garage grow louder, and every year, the window for legacy gets smaller. And this is where the silence from Joe Gibbs Racing becomes so meaningful. Because if Gibbs truly believed Hamlin had one more championship run left, he would have said it, publicly, loudly, confidently. Instead, Hamlin received a quiet that felt more like a funeral than an endorsement. That quiet carries its own weight. It tells a story that words sometimes cannot. A story of doubt, of distance, and of decisions already being made behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Larson celebrates his championship. Blaney celebrates his Phoenix victory. And Hamlin? He walks away with a moment that perfectly reflects his career. Nearly perfect, dominant, brilliant, but still not enough. The story isn't over. The fight isn't finished. The fire isn't out. But Phoenix serves as both a heartbreak and a warning shot. The throne Hamlin has chased for 20 years remains out of reach, and the team that helped him climb toward it may be quietly pulling the ladder away. So here's the question. What does Denny Hamlin do next? Does he push for one last shot with JGR? Does he walk away and invest everything in 23XI Racing? Or does he continue to chase a championship before time and circumstance finally close the door? Now it's your turn. Should Joe Gibbs Racing commit to Hamlin one more time? Or has that window already closed? Was Phoenix the end of an era or the beginning of something entirely new? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this heartbreak, this silence, this turning point, it won't be forgotten anytime soon.